Hey readers, we're back with chapters 25 and 26. Chapter 25. It took all the convincing I had to get my mom to put Hector, Bryce, and Aurora in Lenny's car and drive over to Fuchsia's apartment so she can see the place and talk to Crystal. As soon as I opened the door for Mom, she's at my ear whispering, "If he gets home before we do, I just know he's going to call the cops and tell them I stole his car." She shifts Hector onto her other hip. "And even if we do get back in time, he'll see the odometer. He'll know we went somewhere. What am I supposed to tell him?" "Blame it on me," I say. "Tell him I was freaking out because my friend needed help and that it wouldn't have been right to ignore her." My mom shakes her head, as if that's going to be enough. Bryce and Aurora have been standing in the doorway looking nervous. They know who Fuchsia is, but she's never been that nice to them. It's not like she's been particularly mean either, but she just hasn't been around little kids much. Even the foster families where she stayed all had older kids, and it's like whenever little kids are around, she gets itchy. Which is one of the reasons why I just mentioned that maybe it could be good to have even more people around when she tells her mom, and why I haven't told her about my other ideas yet. She's not necessarily going to be a fan. Fuchsia pokes her head out of the bedroom, and I almost think she's about to slip back into it and pretend she never saw us. But then, Jane Kitty zips out between her feet and leaps onto the windowsill. "A kitty!" Aurora exclaims, forgetting all about how nervous she felt. She makes a beeline for the windowsill with Bryce right behind her, and soon you can't even see Jane Kitty because of all of the pets and kisses and being heaped onto her. Aurora isn't like other kids that would yank a cat's tail, but she is going to get right in its face and tell it how beautiful it is. I cross the room to where Fuchsia is watching her kitten get smothered in love. "Aurora and Bryce will be gentle," I say. Fuchsia nods, but she doesn't look convinced. "Remind me again why your whole family had to come?" "My mom and I are just here to back you up when you tell your mom about Michael, and..." I take in Bryce and Aurora, who are still wearing their big puffy winter coats and look like dirty Oompa Loompas. "And they just have to go wherever we go." When Crystal shows up 20 minutes later, she's pretty surprised to find all of us here, too. "What the..." she starts, but stops when she sees the little kids. "Come on," I whisper to Bryce and Aurora. "How about you bring Jane Kitty to Fuchsia's bed in the other room and keep playing there?" The magic of Jane Kitty means that they don't care where they are, as long as they get to keep petting her head and rolling balls of tinfoil at her belly for her to fend off like a spastic ninja. When I come back out to the main room, my mom and Crystal are staring at each other like they're in a full-on showdown. "I thought I told you I didn't need your pity," Crystal is saying. My mom crosses her arms. I am not here because of some pity party for you." "Yeah, you with your great boyfriend and great place to live. So what are you here for then? Because I don't need you to tell me you're better than me to know you think it." My mom leans back against the wall. "I'm only here because Zoe asked me to come." Crystal's eyes find their way to me. I swallow. Um, Fuchsia has something she needs to tell you." "Does she?" Crystal drops her bag on the floor and comes around the table until she's inches away from Fuchsia. "And you needed witnesses for it, eh? It's that good?" Fuchsia glares at the floor. "I don't have to tell you anything." "Oh," Crystal. "But what's the point of having an audience if you've got nothing to say? Seems like a real waste to..." "Stop talking to her like that," I blurt out. "You don't know what she's been through." Crystal whips her head around. "Oh, really? And I should listen to you because you're her mother and you know what's best?" "That's my daughter you're talking to," my mom says. "Yeah, well, she's in my apartment," Crystal snaps back. "Not for long," Fuchsia says. Her voice is so quiet compared to her mom's. "Aren't we moving in with Michael this afternoon?" "Yeah, well, this is still our apartment until that happens, and I'm not about to have..." "Michael threatened me with his gun," Fuchsia says. Her voice is still just as quiet, but it stops her mom cold. "What did you just say?" Crystal says. "He fired it too," Fuchsia says. "Not at me exactly, but not more than a foot away. Crystal's voice has gone hoarse. You're lying. I'm not. It's a lie, and you're a liar, Crystal screams. And I'm not going to stand here and. You've been in Michael's car since Tuesday, Fuchsia says. There's no way you could have missed the fact that his passenger door window isn't there anymore. Crystal's face darkens. She opens her mouth, but no words come out. Instead, she just shakes her head. The silence that follows is so complete that I can make out the frantic chirps from the birds in the apartment across the hall. After a long, long minute, my mom speaks up. If Michael has done that to Fuchsia, then it's pretty easy to imagine what kind of stuff he'd do to you. And I say that, she quickly adds when Crystal's eyes widen, as someone who, she takes a deep breath, as someone who doesn't have a great boyfriend at all. Crystal sinks down into the chair, glares at my mom, and then looks away. So, things are in the pits for you, and you want company? Is that it? Crystal is like an unmovable rock. If the point of debate is to convince someone to see something in a new way, then it's time for us to bring it. What if you didn't have to move in with him? I say. Because you're going to find a way to magically lower the rent? And why are you even here? This isn't your business. I take a deep breath. I know 5 people who are looking for a place to live who could help out with the rent. Fuchsia cocks her head at me. What? But you guys have that great trailer and... You can't be serious, Crystal says with a laugh. 7 people in a 1-bedroom apartment? I shrug. 7 people, and not a single one of them is an abuser. 7 people, and one of them once called me a slug, Crystal shoots back. I never said that, my mom jumps in. Crystal glares at my mom. That isn't what your boyfriend told me. My mom crosses her arms. Well, he told me you called me a slug. So was he telling the truth about that? Because I'm pretty sure he was just trying to destroy the only real friendship I had. That was a friendship? Mostly, I think it was you telling me what I should and shouldn't do. And this doesn't seem all that different. When my mom just purses her lips without saying anything, Crystal stands up. You all have lost your minds. And I don't know what you're talking about with that abuser talk. I told Michael that we'd move in this afternoon, and I am not going to go back on that. Because you're scared of him? I say. You know that right now I'm shaking in my boots that I'm here, my mom says, and that Lenny will see the gas mileage when he gets back and know I took his car. Crystal looks at my mom, but she doesn't say anything. Finally, she looks away and mutters, I'm not scared of him, but I don't believe a word of it. You move in with Michael if you want. Fuchsia looks up at her mom from where she has tucked herself farther into the corner of the kitchen. But I'm not going anywhere, and they should be able to stay here with me. She kicks at one of Bryce's boots that he left near the door. Why not? I'll call the police on you, Crystal says. That's fine, Fuchsia shrugs. I'll have already called them about Michael. Zoe told me about protective orders, and I don't want that man allowed anywhere near me. You want them to take you back into foster care? Crystal hisses. Then they do, but they wouldn't have to. Not if you stayed here and called the police about Michael for me. Crystal squeezes her hands together, and I realize that they're shaking. My mom stands up and puts a scrap of paper on the table. That's the domestic violence hotline number. You should think about calling it no matter what you decide about us. Crystal's only answer is to glare at my mom and keep squeezing her hands together. Zoe, come on, my mom says. I think it's time for us to go. She bangs on the bedroom door. Bryce, Aurora, she calls, let's go. She opens the door to reveal Bryce cupping Jane Kitty in his hands like the most precious jewel in the world. Aurora is wrapping Bryce's legs up in a bear hug like it's the only way to get her need to squeeze something super tight with love. Oh, please, Bryce sobs, don't make us leave yet. This kitten loves us, and we love her. His voice is trembling, and there are tears in his eyes. My mom pauses, and in that pause, I hear a voice. Crystal's voice. You can stay. You can all stay. She's looking at Bryce as she lets out a long breath. We'll make it work. Chapter 26. What do you mean, all our stuff? Bryce calls from the back seat. My mom doesn't take her eyes off the road. We need to pack it up, and quickly. You can't ask too many questions. Are we going to use this car? I ask. My mom shakes her head. Too risky. But Connor's already at the pizza pit for the lunch shift. I think he'd let us use his to get our stuff out of there. She grips the steering wheel hard. As long as Lenny isn't already back home. So, do you mean I have to pack up all of my toys? Bryce asks. That's what she means, I say. And Petunia? Aurora asks. Where Petunia going? I twist around in my seat. We're all going to be staying together, and Petunia is going to stay with us. It's just that we're going to be living in a new place. Bryce has been scratching at the old sticker from school that stuck to his shirt, but he stops and looks at me. Where? I suck in my breath. We're going to be living with Fuchsia and her mom in their apartment. With the kitty? Aurora shrieks. If she hadn't been buckled into her booster seat, I think she would have rocketed clear across the car. Yes, I say, with the kitty. For the rest of the drive, all Bryce and Aurora can do is scream in excitement about the kitty. They only stop their shrieking when my mom pulls into the trailer park and slows down for each of our final turns. The backseat is completely quiet when we pull into the parking lot next to the trailer, until I hear Bryce ask in a small voice, Are Lenny and Frank going to move into the apartment with the kitty too? No, I say, they're not. Oh, okay, he says. And you can't tell them that we're moving, my mom adds, okay? Not a word about this. So it's going to be a surprise for them? Bryce asks. Yeah, she mutters. Something like that. I'm right behind my mom when she walks up to the door to the trailer. And all I can think is, please don't be home yet. Please don't be home yet. My mom must be having the same thoughts because she's slowing down. It's like the door handle is covered with poison, and she doesn't want to have anything to do with grabbing hold of it and opening the door. It's going to be okay, I whisper. If Lenny's at home, just blame it on me. I wanted to take care of my friend. My mom closes her eyes, and we just wait for another day to pack up and move out. But then she sucks in her breath, and I realize she's holding back tears. It's going to be okay, I repeat. I wrap my arms around her just as firmly as she used to wrap her arms around me when she'd tell me things were going to be okay. She bows her head, squeezing her eyes shut. Now that I can see the way out, I want out, she whispers. I just want out. I grab hold of the door handle. We'll make sure that this is the last time we ever have to walk in this door. I push open the door and walk inside. All I can hear is the TV. Lenny and my mom's bedroom door is open, and I peek in. No Lenny. Around the corner, I find Frank in his recliner. Has Lenny come back yet? I ask over the noise of the TV. Does it look like he did? Frank calls back without looking away from the TV. I turn around to find my mom close behind me. We need to go fast, I whisper. She must be thinking the same thing because she turns on the spot, grabs the trash bag from the kitchen, and disappears into her bedroom. Come on, Bryce and Aurora, let's go. We're going to clean up our room together, okay? Aurora practically skips into the bedroom, shouting, It's gonna be a surprise! I grab a couple more trash bags and head into the bedroom after her. Come on, Bryce, I call. He's still trying to get his winter boots off without using his hands. Why do we have to hurry so much? He asks when he finally appears at the door. We just do. I'm stuffing things into a bag at lightning speed. I pull the Mickey Mouse nightlight out of the wall. Think of it as a race. Petunia, Aurora is saying to her sea turtle, we're going to get to go live with a kitty. My mom pokes her head into our room. She's got Hector on her hip. I'm going to run over to the pizza pit and borrow Connor's car. She's talking super fast. As soon as I get back here with it, you've got to be ready to go. I'm going to leave Hector here with you. Can you get the car seats out of Lenny's car before then? I nod. Okay. We'll be ready. Go. My mom looks at me for an instant and then sets down Hector on the floor. I'm going to leave my bag outside by the trash cans, but it's not trash. Then she's gone. Bryce starts play fighting with the lightsaber and just barely misses Aurora. Bryce, put that down and start packing your things into this bag, okay? I finish throwing the rest of Aurora's clothes into a bag and start in on Bryce's to help him. Can we bring this lamp with us? Bryce asks. I really like this lamp. It's not ours, Bryce. I'm sorry. I grab clothes from off the floor. We'll figure out what's dirty later. But it's in our room, Bryce says. I cram Bryce's sandals from last summer into the bag. Not that anyone can imagine wearing sandals when it's February. I'm sure there's already a lamp at Fuchsia's apartment. When did he start liking that lamp? I stand up, tie the two big bags shut, and pick up Hector. I'm going to bring these outside and get the car seats ready. You put anything else that's ours in the last bag, and I'll be back in to get it in a few minutes. Outside, Aurora's booster seat is easy to detach, but the base of Hector's big hulking car seat is a different story. It's like the release button on it is not an actual button, but is instead just a different colored piece of plastic that has no intention of releasing anything and really wonders about why you keep punching it in the face. I'm still wrestling with the car seat when I hear my mom pull up at the curb. She better be able to get this thing out of here. But when I finally extricate myself from the back seat and I stand up, I see it's not my mom. It's Lenny getting dropped off by Slider. Oh, hi, I say. I can feel my hand instantly start to shake. What are you doing in my car? He asks as Slider drives away. I force a smile. Just trying to fix Hector's car seat? It was getting too loose. He sticks his head in the driver's side. He's looking at the odometer. So where'd you go? What do you mean? I keep trying to jab at the car seat button because it's even harder when your hand won't stay still. Someone drove 3.7 miles since I left. You know anything about that? Oh, it was because of my friend. She was having a really tough time, and I made Mom drive me over to see her. Lenny raises an eyebrow at me. Maybe he does suspect something's up. Well, it was just 3.7 miles, right? I say. I mean, she was having a really rough time. So you need to just pat her on the shoulder while she has some cry fest about a boy? Just don't use up my gas to do it. Lenny is putting on his nice face for me, but I can tell that underneath the gears are starting to turn. He slams the car door shut and then looks back at me. What's up with all those trash bags? Oh, those. I try to keep breathing. We were doing a lot of cleaning. But then I trail off, mostly because Bryce and Aurora have appeared on the stoop, and Bryce is still holding the lamp. Lenny's nice face is gone. What's going on? Aurora's eyes go all big. It's a surprise! There's a kitty! He turns to me. What's she talking about? Oh, she's just really excited about cats these days, I say quickly. I think she's starting to have an imaginary friend. Don't worry, there aren't any actual cats in the trailer. Lenny turns to Bryce. What are you doing with that lamp? Bryce looks terrified. He puts it down on the stoop, like lamps always live on stoops. Nothing. Mom drives up to the curb in Connor's old Subaru, her face gray with fear. She comes to a stop, but the engine is still going. What in God's name is going on? Lenny shouts. Please don't drive off without us. We didn't want to leave the trash out in front of the trailer all week until the garbage truck comes, I say. I grab as many of the trash bags as I can and hurl them into the trunk of Connor's car. But we didn't want to put any more miles on your car, so Mom borrowed a car from someone else so we could make a trip to the dump before it closes at 5 p.m. I walk back over to Lenny's car, like I know what I'm doing. And even though everything inside me has turned to goo, I jam my thumb into the car seat button like I mean it. It finally releases and lets me haul the car seat out of the car. With my other arm, I grab Hector from where he's been playing on the back seat with the seatbelt and head for Connor's car. Lenny's face is shifting to a deep shade of red. Whose car is that? Let's go, Bryce and Aurora. We have to go, I call. To the dump. I add, praying that they don't hear the part and decide not to come. Whose car is that? Lenny yells again, but he doesn't even wait for an answer. He's barreling up the stairs and into the trailer to see for himself what's inside and what isn't. Bryce and Aurora pile down the stairs right past him. I pull open the backseat door, hurl in the car seat, pluck Hector into it, and thread the seatbelt through it as quick as I can. I may be goo on the inside, but octopuses are basically made of goo, and I've got all 8 tentacles in motion. Aurora is suddenly filling the back seat with chants of kitty, kitty, kitty. Bryce has thankfully left the lamp on the stoop and appears with Aurora's booster seat that I left lying on the ground. I buckle them both in practically at the same time. I am a full-on octopus. I squeeze out the opposite door and climb into the passenger seat next to my mom, who's still frozen at the wheel. But as soon as I do, I see Lenny coming towards us, gripping the lamp in one hand. Whose car is that? My mom's knuckles are white from gripping the steering wheel. His eyes, he's shaking, but he's just a screaming monkey. I put my hand on my mom's and squeeze. Drive, Mom, I say, drive now. And then, just like she used to, my mom slams down on the accelerator and we shoot down the road. There's a muffled crash as the lamp is thrown right into the side of the car. That wasn't our lamp anyway. Whew, they just barely got out of there. So there you have it, chapters 25 and 26. Only 2 chapters left, 27 and 28. Make sure you tune back in tomorrow to listen to those. Make sure you